Hello, everybody. This is Joseph P. Farrell. As you can tell, wearing my normal hat and a little unshaven, unkept today. I've been up quite a while and trying to do some work. But we have an interesting day of speculation ahead of us. This is October 6th, Thursday, 2011. News and views from the Nefarium. And I'm going to be talking about 4 articles I pulled off the internet. I will blog these later this week so that you can actually see these articles, look at them. But it seems that there is a certain country that's in the news very quietly lately, if you've been watching the so-called American news media, and a story, I think, underneath it, and they may be related, I don't know. The country, of course, is Germany. All right. You've probably been hearing that German prosecutors have reopened the cases of a lot of Nazis that are living in Germany and bringing these to prosecution. And I think that the timing of this, as Europe is in this sort of financial meltdown, and Germany is increasingly called upon to bail out the rest of Europe, Greece, Italy, Spain, and so on and so forth. And of course, what you're not hearing in the American news is that the German people are really upset, all right? And I have to wonder if this sudden urge to go after Nazis and prosecute them, bring them to trial, if that might be somehow related. So I started doing a little digging, all right? And the first thing I ran across is this little article. I'll try and bring it over here. Down here, oops, you see pictures of the old German Deutschmark, all right? And the article is about rumors are rife, and you can go on the internet, and this is quite true. Rumors are rife that Germany is secretly and quietly printing up old Deutschmark notes in a kind of a backstop or backup plan in case the bailout fails or in case the German parliament votes Germany out of the Eurozone. And we'll be talking about that in a second here. The other thing I want to point out is this article. I'll bring it over here. You may not be able to read what it says, but it says Deutschmark quotations restored at German financial portal. And the article is about the Börsen News, which is kind of like Germany's, it's a combination of Germany's Dow and Wall Street Journal. It's their stock market reporter. And the interesting thing is last year, and I didn't even know this until I started looking for these articles, last year Germany started quoting stock prices in the Deutschmark again, even though the Deutschmark isn't even in circulation. Then I found yet another article from Commodity Online, which is a fairly decent source, again confirming that Germany may bring back the Deutschmark and ditch the euro. All right, and then the final little bit of interesting news is this one. This one's headline is Trichet loses his cool at the prospect of the Deutschmark's revival in Germany. And this is an article about Jean-Claude Trichet, who is the CEO of the European Central Bank. In other words, the bank that loans that wonderful currency, just like all central banks do, loans the euro into circulation. And he literally sort of lost his cool at a German questioning him at Frankfurt what he thought about the possible return of Germany to the Deutschmark and getting out of the Eurozone. And of course, Trichet lost his cool because he's been in the news lately touting the fact that, well, to solve this debt crisis, of course, Europe has to consolidate politically even more than it already is. And it's interesting that it's the Germans, not the French, not the Italians, not the Spanish, it's the Germans that are balking at all of this. Now, what does all of this mean? I'm going to crawl way out on a speculative limb here. I do think that for some reason, we don't know why yet, this sudden urge to prosecute Nazis in Germany and these rumors may be, and underline that word, may be related. I've been saying all along that Germany is one of those countries to watch. Russia, China, Japan, Germany particularly. Um, the Germans are understandably the nation in Europe most unlikely to go into any sort of recrudescence of fascism or Nazism. And the simple reason why is, of course, that regime literally took their country and plunged it into a horrible world war, destroyed the country, was inflicted suffering on the Germans and everybody else that it hated in Europe. So the Germans are understandably very, very sensitive to any sort of return to that sort of plan. Now, what I think is very interesting is that the Deutschmark was an extraordinarily stable currency. Again, that was part of the German experience. They never wanted to go back to the days of the hyperinflation that ruined the Weimar Republic and brought the Nazis into power. So they were very, very careful to watch their currency, the Deutschmark, very carefully. Now, what's unknown to most people is back when the Deutschmark was the currency that Germany used, it was Germany's currency. The Deutschmark functioned in many cases almost as a kind of secondary reserve currency after the US dollar. And I think what we may be seeing here is not only German reluctance to go along with continued bailouts in Europe, and you can't blame them, all right? You not only are seeing that, but if Germany does indeed go back to the Deutschmark, you might be seeing a covert play or a covert bid on the part of the BRICS nations, Russia and China in particular, to use a proxy country with a stable economy, a large economy like Germany, to establish a different reserve currency, a different world reserve currency. That would do nothing but benefit the Germans, just as the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency up till now has benefited the United States tremendously. All right. The other thing is that if Germany does go into the Deutschmark and pull out of the Eurozone, pull out of the euro as its currency. And again, all of this is wild speculation. We don't know what Germany's going to do. But if Germany does do that, one of the things I think that we need to watch very carefully, one of the things or indicators that they might be prepared to do that, is they will align themselves more closely with Russia. And they will never, of course, pull out of Europe completely or anything of the sort. I'm not saying that. But they will align themselves much more closely with Russia and China in particular, probably Japan as well. So watch Germany very carefully. Germany is now in one of those situations historically that it's been in the past where whatever decision it makes is going to have a tremendous effect on the rest of the world. And it's going to be very interesting to see how these prosecutions of the Nazis unfold. There are Germans that are very well aware of the connection of what I called the Nazi International to at least the formative planning stages of parts of the European Economic Union or European Economic Community that eventually led to the European Union and the Eurozone. So it's going to be very interesting. Watch Germany very, very carefully. And I will put these articles up sometime in the coming weeks so that you can actually read them and see what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's news and views from the Nefarium for this week. I'm sorry I departed from my plan this week. I was originally planning to talk about some things about ancient history and science and so on, but this news kind of superseded it, so hopefully I'll get back to the other theme, either in the blogs or future news and views from the Nefarium. Bye-bye, everybody. Keep it right here, and I'll see you on the flip side.